enough away, I'm going to take this off.
I think we can.
Can you hear me, Dick?
I think we're far enough.
Okay, you're on. Can you hear us? Let me know if you need it turned up.
You're live now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's way far enough.
All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I would like to thank each of you for being here and taking the time to represent your organizations and the programs that you do. They're all very, very important to our community, and it's that work that gets things done. So with that, I'd like to stand and make pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States
of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so we have the minutes from the May meeting before us. We did meet in June. We did not have a full body, so we called the meeting. Dick Knowles gave a quick report, and there was a little discussion there, but it wasn't for a formal meeting because we called the meeting. Okay, so does anyone have anything that they would like to change on these minutes?
Dick said he didn't agree with some of the meeting minutes.
Dick, are you there?
I am. Actually, the minutes I got, they were minutes, but the heading on the minutes said the city council minutes.
City of Sweet Home City Council. Oh,
That's exactly what it says.
Good catch.
And I'm not remembering a video with Tommy Moore and Blair Larson. Did I fall asleep with something?
Blair was here. That's a long time for me to remember back. Did you see his video?
It was in May though,
Yeah, right.
not June.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Blair.
This is the June meeting.
Well, Tommy had a handout, if I remember correctly.
It says video on the, I'm just saying in the minutes, it says video. And I don't know. Yeah. But, yeah, other folks may have a different memory, but, yeah. And then if I might, this is kind of what my problem has been. If you go back to the original agenda I got for the committee, it lists how to call in and gives you to use the internet. And then they give you a telephone number if you don't have access to the internet. And that number is actually the office number, which after 5 doesn't mean much. And it gives you the office number, and then you'll be asked to choose option 1, which doesn't have anything to do with anything, about this committee. So somebody probably in Julie's office or whatever might relook at how this is worded.
So if I could add something real fast, the phone system is set up so that after on meeting days, then it will route to a phone tree when it's necessary for a meeting like this. Other days, yes, after 5 it doesn't.
That works for me.
Okay.
It says choose option 1 and choose option 1 doesn't get that.
Okay.
So Brendan, if that's happening to this meeting and participants, it's probably happening to other meetings and participants.
Or it just could be me, but
So would you mind looking into that?
Yeah, I will certainly do so.
Thank you very much.
thanks, Brandon.
I'm taking notes. All right.
I'll do the
Anyway.
agenda as well.
Huh?
I'll do the note-taking.
Okay. Thank you. As in changing this or making a motion to accept it as changed? Oh, right.
Motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so we will fix that and change the title on it and address the technology issues that we're having. Moving on, we have committee reports, and the first one would be the health fair. How are you doing?
The health fair, not health fair. Well, I guess my first thoughts though, before I jump on that, is just with today's events at Foster Lake, I'd like to send my thoughts and prayers out to those families where their children were hurt in that incident. I think one was life-flighted, if I recall.
Yep.
So critical and then serious condition is what I'm understanding. So
what happened?
Jet ski.
go ahead.
A jet ski, I was not out there, but the jet ski at the swimming area went into the swimming area and hit two little ones. I don't know what the ages were.
So they were under 10.
Yeah, but I have no information. I couldn't give that to you anyway, but they life flighted one and I think they took the other one to Portland too, but I'm not sure about
At
it.
Lewis Creek.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, thoughts to that.
Oh, yeah.
The health fair, of course, we announced that, we were canceling it for this year. Dick has reached out to vendors as well as I have, just to let them know that, due to the COVID and the restrictions with large gatherings, we needed to, put that thing on the back burner for this year. But also encouraging the vendors out there that, next year, if everything aligns right and we're headed in the right direction, hopefully we can make that come back. We've also been brainstorming about some other options that we might be able to provide to the community. Nothing concrete at this point in time, but that aspect of it. So.
Okay. Not to change subjects or anything, but you had a report also on the health ban.
Yes, the Samaritan, Dick and I have been working diligently to keep that service here. With Samaritan's health ban, it's not being utilized right this time. And of course, if something's not being utilized, they're not going to put the resources to send it to our community. Investigating a little further and having discussions with Samaritan, and Dick knows this as well, that their numbers are down also other places. So it's not that they're getting 10, 12 people through the door. That, some places are getting 1 through the door, some are getting 4 through the door, and others 2. The last couple times we have not got anyone go through that door other than someone who want to take a tour of that. So we've had extra cards printed up, getting into the hands of resources out here to hand cards out to people who need. We've redone posters, so we're doing all we can, but understandably, if the numbers are not there, we're looking at some maybe different locations possibly to move it if needed, and try that as well. So we're kind of just trying to do the best we can with that service. It's a good health provider there. She's very optimistic. We looked at, I talked to I think it's a patio day with the school district.
Yes.
I had a good conversation with her. She's in New York, family and a newborn. And when she gets back, we're going to be connecting. She thought, maybe the Samaritan Mobile would be a good service to work with children in the school district. So we're looking at maybe that's another alternative for the use of that service.
I know in other communities, health services are tied directly to the schools.
They're gonna have-
Like the,
Yeah.
LBCC center is, so
Where's this one?
might be something
Dick likes that.
too.
Well, the whole COVID thing has really changed the whole dynamics,
22nd.
demographics, even the different groups that are catering to
Mart.
homelessness and those that are struggling, their also numbers are down somewhat because it's just, how do you make it all work with the guidelines that are set for? So everybody's struggling in that arena.
I don't know, long-term Some of the reports that I've heard is potentially as much as 1 in 5 families being homeless by January. 1 in 5 nationwide. And so I'm hoping that doesn't come to fruition, but it's kind of, it's rough. And I think that we're going to get hit just like anybody else.
And we've seen even the MANA numbers of meals, of course, with shutting down the dining room where people would come and stay, they were more apt to use or go to the van because it was right there. But that being not possible, people are just coming in takeout and leaving. And we're seeing a lot of families, instead of a bunch of families coming, you'll have one family come in and maybe grab 4 to 6 meals and go and leave with them. So we're, again, the numbers are down, for that.
Yeah.
But it's what it is, and, we'll continue to put our best foot forward with this and be as creative as we can.
Larry?
If I could tie into that meal thing with the kids from the summer lunch program, it's down drastically. Before summer came, they were serving 600 meals a day. And that was breakfast and lunch, so that's really 1,200 meals a day. Since then, Millie says that if they get 200, that's a lot.
Wow, that's really good.
And so, I mean, that's a drastic reduction in people taking advantage of what's out there. So it's a lot of really good free food, and they can just come, take it and go. But people apparently aren't taking advantage of that. I don't know why.
Does it traditionally go down in the summertime or?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The normal lunch time during the summer would be at each school, and there's usually 3 sites, 25 to 30. And so 180 kids traditionally. So it's back to almost what would be normal for a regular summer.
But you would expect it to be up,
I would have expected it to stay at 600. I mean, if people know it's there and it's good food and it doesn't cost anything, they should be taking advantage of it, but they're not.
So with the pool closed, that might have some effect on the numbers, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe people are just keeping the kids home more, which would be a good
I
thing.
mean, people were finding a way to get there. Transportation, you would think maybe would be an issue. Buses haven't been running for a long time, and
Do
you
we,
would think that they would come and get food, but they're not.
Could I just say,
Yeah.
you know what, this probably won't sound right to somebody, but I really have a problem with free food. It's not free. It's not free. It's not true. Anyway, I'm done.
but all of this goes to children that don't have
I'm not
control
talking
over the
about that.
economics
I'm
of
talking about
families.
somebody saying it's free, because it's not. I don't have any problem with feeding these kids, none whatsoever, but it's not free.
Yeah, somebody's paying for it,
Yeah. So, anyway,
and it's not those that are taking.
and they need it. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying that they need it and it's a good thing, but anyway, good, we're good.
Oh, thank you, Bob. Larry?
I've been in contact with the 3 ladies. I did a Zoom conference with them last week. It was nice to, actually, that's the first time I've seen their faces. So that was nice. Those 3 ladies that have been involved this year, of course, it got cut short. They ended up leaving the campus.
Like an ambulance.
And going home.
They recalled it.
But they are now second-year students. And so they will be moving away from the program for the first-year students. And new students will be coming in, and because of COVID, I'm hearing that it could take until December or January before they even start working with us. And as of right now, they don't even know who it's going to be. So the program, I know DI expects it to continue. It's just that it's because of COVID, it's going to be a slower process than we would have hoped for. The 3 girls are actually, they have put together about a 10-minute PowerPoint and are scheduled in August for our August meeting to kind of summarize where it started and what's happened up to now. and then hopefully talk about what are we going to do in the future. They have made some good changes. I mean, since the program started, there is a occupational health program at the high school. These three girls are actually going to try and get students from Western to come and do one-on-one mentoring with the students, which is, I know, I would like to see that. I hope it can happen. So they have some ideas that they want to share. They want the health committee's input on their ideas. They want people to know what we have done up to this point. They would like to, in some way, communicate with all of the people that participated in the original program. I think there were 27 or 28 different citizens that contributed to the thought process as to what do we need in Sweet Home as far as health. And so they would like to present to those people, but they want your opinion first before they do. So I'm expecting about a 10-minute presentation with questions and answers in August, at the August meeting.
Are you gonna be out, going to like Rotary, Elks, those places with the?
We'll see what all of you want to do with the program. I think the community needs to know what they've done.
Yeah, I do too. I was trying to figure out how to get that out when the.
Once they formalize it, I think it'd be really easy to present it.
Mhm.
Wherever and whoever wants to hear it. And yeah, Rotary would be a good spot. People are always looking for programs at Rotary.
That's what I was thinking.
So, you have one coming up?
No, not yet.
Okay. So that's basically where we are with the students. And it's a shame that these girls didn't have the full year to really get into it, because they are very conscientious, they're very hard workers, and they they're done, really. They're second-year students. They could have just dropped this whole thing, but they didn't want to do that. They wanted to come and present to you. So I applaud them for that.
So, do you think that if they provided like a Zoom meeting for our high school seniors or juniors to be able to plug into, this is how going to school looks like for real, right, in that school setting, and this is how you get from here to there, this is what you need to do to be able to do that? I think we have students who might want to plug into that. It might be only 10.
Right.
But that's 10 that wouldn't have had that opportunity to start with.
I think you're going to probably address more kids.
Well, they may not be able to do a one-on-one close mentoring at the beginning of this next deal, but they could do something like that and then find out who's interested. Yeah.
Answer some questions. And I find sometimes because of being on the outside, being with the city or a different organization, that you can approach things a little differently than what you would in a classroom. And so by having a Zoom meeting and the kids being able to plug in and experience that the way the adults do. This is the chat. I don't know how they do it for school because I'm not at the site anymore.
Yeah.
But to be able to function like that and do a presentation and see that modeled and then be able to ask those real life questions. How much does it cost? What is that process? What has the experience been positive for you? Those kind of things. I think that might have a lasting effect on the kids. And so it was just a thought.
No, I think it's an excellent idea. And I think that once we find out who the new students are, we pass that on to them and say, look, this is a good way to get started on the mentoring part at the high school. But they want to address the rest of it too. They're very much interested in helping with the van. They want to bring the van more days to Sweet Home. And if they can get volunteers to help, they're willing to do that. If Samaritan lets them. They are limited, like Di said in the very beginning, they can't do hands-on doctoring, but they could probably do blood pressures and temperatures and things like that would help, so that the van would not need as many employees from Samaritan necessarily to be there.
Well, if they will set some goals and create a strategic plan, we can know where we can plug in to help them.
Yep.
So that would be awesome.
So I'm encouraged by where these young ladies are trying to head, and we'll do everything that we can to support them.
Absolutely. It's exciting. Thank you. Is there anything that we can do to help you at this point?
Be ready to just really give them good questions when they're presenting to us on, I think it's August 17th. I believe that's the next meeting.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Jim?
Well, first of all, I'd like to backtrack just a little bit to Bob. Bob, for the van, should I contact the school district, find out if we can use, we could either do it in the parking lot there at the main office, or in the old tennis courts across from the high school. That's available because people aren't parking there. You could use that for a site for the van.
It might be good to hear what Patty has to say today when she gets back, how she wants to tie that with the school. That might, that would.
Well, I'm just thinking if I can get some sites tentatively okayed,
Yeah.
then you can jump on them.
Because I was thinking even, where they do the meals, kids come there even in that parking lot or something. Depending on the time of the year and what's taking place, of course, it'll have an effect on it as well. But yeah, if you want to inquire, I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, I'll do that.
Banners.
Banners. We have 4 more banners that are ready to be punched up. I got to wait for 1 more, so we have to do them in lots. 5 is the minimum that we can do, and it costs us a little more. But so we're trying to get that done, and then we will have about 82, I think, after this year. So I think it's what we're looking at. And I went out and counted last night, 11 more will put us out almost to the top of the hill, and then another 22 more will put us out all the way out to the edge of Foster. So we got about 30 more to go to get through town, and then we can fill in as we go.
Do you have a goal for this year?
I saw another Trask.
You did?
Uh-huh.
I know it is.
Is that another relation?
Probably.
I thought so.
Okay. So,
I've got a question.
yes,
I really struggle. First of all, I want to tell you that I support this thing 100%. I bought one for my son. But I just don't understand the connection to this committee with the Heroes banners. I have never been able to figure that out and get my hands around that. And we have the cities involved in that, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but we're putting time and stuff into that here, when I would think that the Vets Club would be a better place to put that. That's just my opinion, and I don't know, we're putting resources here that are taking time away from our employees to do this, which I don't know that is what we should be doing. I'm just asking.
so the Hero Project was about pulling our community together. We have a huge suicide rate for our veterans, and bringing knowledge and awareness to issues of families that serve and those veterans that actually live within our community. And so we did approach the VFW, we approached the Elks and multiple organizations, and nobody wanted to take it on because they didn't know what that would look like, and we didn't want it to be a fundraiser. We wanted it to be a project for the community. that would pull families together. And it really has. People are very, very proud of their banners. It's changing Main Street just a little tiny bit, but there's a lot more conversations about who our veterans are in the community and what that looks like. And so I think it actually has served its purpose, but it really is about awareness and being more community pride combined with being aware and thoughtful of the families and the sacrifices they're making. And those veterans with the PTSD, the alcoholism, everything else that goes along with that, and that's happening nationwide. And so it would be nice if it was in the community beautification group or parks or something else, but it was a matter of somebody taking it on and making it happen.
Well, I know you guys did a lot of work. That's not my
No,
point.
Yeah.
nobody else has the ability to put them up and take them down.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
So, but I will tell you.
It's really the only time that the city puts into it.
I don't believe that's true.
So they fill out an application and they bring it down to the city.
And then we.
It is put just literally taken a picture of. And as far as anybody going over to see a vet, picking up banners, dropping them off, designing the banners, all of that, the city has nothing to do with any of it. It is all volunteer work between these two people you see right here. That's it.
Okay.
And then a vet volunteers her time. She's the graphic organizer. She does it all. She orders the stuff. We probably have about 10 banners done up before she picks up the phone and calls the city for a payment for the banners that we get. But as far as work on the city staff end of it, minimal, absolutely minimal.
Well, I guess another thing, and I could be totally wrong here, but another thing is I'm not sure that the city should be taking care of the money that's doing for this project. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just asking. Because this is something outside of this building's, what I would consider their responsibility. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's proper to do that. I don't know.
Well,
I think that we could.
we did check on it to see if it was legal, and it's all legal to do it through the city. But the city also buys, with the money that comes in from the cans and other things, they do buy the brackets to go on the
Greg, it does.
yeah, the poles, and those brackets this year were used double duty this year. They were used for the seniors and the,
Was to replace those in a standardized format so that we could do our Christmas decorations on the same brackets, on the same poles.
I'm not arguing to that stuff.
And so, but well, it was
there was a thought
for benefit.
into it to
And so,
keep it less.
Well,
but the city also runs the bricks that go out in the veterans display out there too in front of Hoy's. And other projects, we do the Sweetheart Run and different things. So I don't know that it's any different. So.
I don't know, what's everybody else think?
I don't know, yeah. If we could give this to the Elks or the Rotary or the VFW, we would be happy to. Now it's up and going and people just kind of, order a banner every now and then and we have goals, but it definitely benefits the city as a whole. And I think it's serving the purpose it started off with doing.
Well, I think in the beginning, the whole idea behind the concept of that, and I could, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the idea of really addressing people that were struggling mentally and the veterans and others that are victims of that it was kind of to honor them and kind of give them an uplift. I mean, I think that was the whole point of it, Dave, in the beginning was that. And the point being that no one at that time was taking it on. Now, I think maybe to what you're trying, at least maybe what you're trying to drive at here is in the scope of what this committee is supposed to be done, is that a fit for this committee? And is that kind of what you're?
yeah, that's exactly, I understand the health issues.
Yeah,
I do
I think
that.
that's what I'm hearing from him.
I
is
can't-
fit the scope of what the mission of this committee is about.
And I can't say stronger than I did. I have a son in the military. People I went to school with were killed in Vietnam. That is not the issue, not the issue. I don't want anybody watching this thing or texting me later today or emailing me or stuff to say that I'm against that, but I am not. I'm absolutely not. I just can't figure out how that has anything to do, hanging the banners has anything to do with our medical part of it. And I understand, excuse me, I understand that it makes people proud, and it makes me proud to see them all up there. That's not my issue at all. I just don't know I don't know that it's the proper place for it. That's what I'm getting at. And if this, I don't care. If you say we're going to keep it, that's fine with me. But I've always had those questions from the very beginning. And I just want to make sure that the vets know that I am behind them and 100%. So, and I don't need any more discussion.
Well, I will say one more thing though on this. This committee was not originally set up as just a health medical committee. It was set up as a community health committee, which is the health of the community, as well as the health of people within the community. And whenever we set out the original goals, that's what the original goals were. And when we talked about it, this fit the goals at that time. If it's changed, then.
I think there's a lot of aspects to being a healthy community. And when I looked at the banners, we were driving through Susanville, and I noticed these wonderful banners going down the street recognizing their people of service. And I didn't look at empty storefronts. I didn't look at trash cans. I was looking at these banners. I know we drive through Sweet Home and we're looking at everything else because we live here. But I think that our sense of how we feel about our community affects us emotionally, and our emotional health and our sense of who we are in the world, and our mental health has different aspects to it. And I think that if we want to see change within our community, we have to address all those aspects. Whether you are a veteran with PTSD, whether you are a child that doesn't understand service, or that your neighbor has baggage, all of these things are intertwined. And I think it's important. Could it have been done through other committees? Yes, but no other committees took it up. So that's where we're at, and that's why we keep hearing about it, is because we're tying downtown to the Midway on a recognized highway. And people keep coming forward, stopping, taking pictures, and doing well with it. So, yes.
I also, I didn't realize that they had standardized those posts, but I thought it was great the way the community got behind the seniors and a way of honoring them. I thought it was great the way that we're honoring our service people. And at the same time, at Christmas time, we put up our Christmas decorations. So we're serving 3 different needs right now, and there may be others that come up in the future. By having those individual posts that you can put flags on or whatever, I've been in a lot of different communities that have different logos on. In fact, we do at different times put up different logos besides just the signs. To me, it's a way of showing people that come into our community another way that we care. And to me, I wouldn't want any other organizations climbing up those poles and dealing with those poles, because if somebody would get hurt, I don't know who would be responsible for that. Where now, if the city people, they have the equipment to do it, where no one else is going to have the boom trucks and stuff to do that. So I agree, Dave, that it could have been under a number of committees. It's unfortunate right now. I'm okay with that. And I'm proud to have those flying in our community.
Well, one last thought. I've lived here almost all my life. And I know what happens when our community is asked to come together. And you can name thing after thing, the Boys and Girls Club, the senior place, the football field, the new city hall, the new police station, the fire station. It goes on and on and on. It doesn't stop there.
It's in.
And this is really a good thing. I'm not saying that, I hope I don't get a bunch of crap from that, but that wasn't my issue. I never understood why it was in this place, that's all. So.
Well, we had talked to Greg Stedman about, he has the capacity to make giant snowflakes that slide right on those poles and put lights and stuff on them. They have the ability with the city to do that. They haven't done it. And so that would cut down on the costs of our Christmas decorations and just help build the spirit and how people feel around this seasons. We have some poles that haven't been replaced yet, but we do have the money to do that. They just haven't pulled them out and put in the new ones. And so the cans have really helped with that. And honestly, I believe we could use those same cans, just change up a new label for another project. There's nothing that stops us from doing other projects. And so we just haven't had any come before us. And so I think that's worthy. So we'll go around and do reports from the entities that we represent. And at some point I talked to this committee about the efforts to bring in some mental health training for the school staff. Well, COVID kind of shot us down, and the goal was to help the school staff and then replicate that to community members so they could see what's being taught and have that language, that culture within their homes as well. But so we're dead in the water until this kind of dissolves, because we've got so many other things that took precedence at this time. Although the need for our children and community to be all on the same page and using the same vocabulary and understanding what that looks like is increasing by the day. And so I have reached out to another entity to develop a module for the school staff, and they're hoping to have it done before school starts, that could be replicated and utilized by anybody that would choose to do that. That's not so canned that it would conflict with anybody's programs. How we would possibly use that to do outreach within our own community, I'm not sure, but I certainly think that anything we can do to reach these folks that are increasingly in crises right now, the better. And so I know we have had some conversation with Dick, who's on the line, about providing something and moving forward with that. It's important. And so that's all I've got to say. Chief Lynn, do you have something you'd like to share?
I will wait till Sean Morgan, he can give our report.
Ooh, okay. I almost didn't recognize him without the ponytail.
Well, between the mask and the lack of ponytail.
Yeah. Bob,
DJ.
do you have anything on anything else for other subjects and stuff that?
Well, the only thing, and I've shared some thoughts with you, and you know, our whole world has been flipped with this COVID, and you see it across our country, you see it across our world, you see it locally here in the community, and we're all trying to adapt to what this new way looks like. And one of the things that is kind of a stickler for me right now, and I get frustrated with it, it's the mask, you know, because we do have a mandate that requires them to be worn inside of businesses. But I go through all the business of Sweet Home. I try to do all of my buying in Sweet Home because I support Sweet Home. I love Sweet Home. And yet the inconsistency from business to business, and I just don't get that, you know. I think Thriftway is probably one of the ones that I think is really on top of it. I mean, it's very clearly posted, a nice yellow sign in the door says mask required. There's no gray areas about that one, you know. And Safeway's doing a good job, Weimart's coming on. I mean, they're all learning how to ride this bicycle, but And I know probably some of it is the fear of bringing it up or confronting customers that come through the door that do not have them on. I seen in that example today, we had them on, here comes two through the door. Nothing is being said to these individuals. And I just I don't understand that, you know. It is an inconvenience. I like a mask more than anyone else does. But if that's my most inconvenience in life, I'll take it. So I don't know what we can do differently to encourage that or support our businesses. I know definitely it wouldn't do for an outside agency to come through here, because I'm sure there would be some get caught. And like I said, it's just my own personal frustration, because with COVID in Oregon growing at 200 plus cases per day, another 200 and some today, and 2 more deaths, you know, it's going to be knocking on our door. It's knocking on our door. I think we're just fortunate right now. And I know, it puts the fear out there some. You know, I know the incident that was here in Sweet Home that involved an individual referencing a firearm. And I do know of another case where a firearm was displayed in a parking lot, whether it was turned in or not, but I know of it. And that's a big concern. And to me, as leaders, I think it's important for us to voice our opinion that those things aren't acceptable. You know, like I said, I don't have the right way to do it. You know, I may write a letter to the editor thanking those that are participating in a good, positive way and encouraging others to help pick up that baton a little bit. Because, I mean, this is kind of a life or death thing for our country and our people. And I know there's a lot of pent-up frustration after we see it in every city, you know. And so anyway, it's just my concern is there's something that I feel I can do differently. I'd like people to let me know what I can do, or even this committee, because I think if we can support each other and get through this together, then, you know, we can get this COVID on the downside, and honestly, we can maybe get back to somewhat kind of a norm. I don't know what that norm looks like, but, you know, I think everyone's trying to figure that one out. So anyway, just okay.
Thank God you're not important.
My son lives in Portland. I think I'll speak honestly and open about that. To have federal troops in there, I think is wrong. But what the protesters are doing, the freedom of speech, I think is important. The ones that are tearing up things, no, that's unlawful. They should be arrested and jailed for those kinds of things. But I mean, when I see a veteran that speaks today on the news, literally video where he gets beat is wrong. And I hope that we never get to that. But we should be able to express our opinions openly without wanting to tear each other apart because of that.
All good thoughts. I don't have anything else to add, really. I agree. Maybe this committee should be saying something in an article, since we are a community health committee.
It doesn't have to be negative. I think it's a positive thing. I mean, as leaders and committees, we're
protecting other people.
We're the leaders, and we're the ones that have the ownership and responsibility to protect our citizens and our community and have a safe and healthy community. If we don't do it, who does it? No one.
Well, to me, this committee has some responsibility for the health of our community. Maybe we should be saying something publicly.
And it can be as simple as encouraging the use. It doesn't say you have to, but certain ones indoors, those are mandated. I mean, it's just, to me, there's not an argument there.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
We would encourage people to follow the rules, even though you not agree with them. There's a lot of doing 55 and I'll often do 65 instead of 55, but you know, I still support the 55 if it's there. I should get a ticket if I am doing 65.
66.
I personally equate it to burn season.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
May not be worried about your house burning down, but you recognize that. And
Well, I have trash to burn.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna burn it because it's not burn season. So I'll take it to the dump, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lisa.
I will mention that there have been regulatory agencies in our government to address some of the concerns people have had with various businesses, so that has taken place. And maybe it's just the businesses that I've been frequenting, but I've noticed all have been wearing the mask, so I'm not sure. I've been in the same ones you've been in, but when I've been in the stores, I'm impressed with the level of the.
No, I think
It's more and more people are.
more and more are doing it.
Doing it.
I'm just surprised to step back. I mean, I went into a well-known business this week and boy didn't, and the customer across it didn't. And I'm thinking how hard it must be for some just to say, I'm not sure if you're aware or not that a mask is required. Wilco and Lebanon is a good example. If you don't have a mask, they got a nice sign that says, if you don't have one, we'll give you one. Stepped it up one more notch.
Yeah.
And everyone in there had a mask on.
Well, if you don't like the mask, take out the shoe. They're clear.
Exactly.
I mean,
I
they're,
mean, it's a hit and miss. You're not always gonna get, it's kind of to your point, 55 is the speed limit. How many people drive over it?
Yeah.
Probably the majority drive over it. Myself included, I'll admit it.
AKA Sean Morgan.
Oh. So I've been working for about a month and a half, a little more than a month and a half, and part of my job is homeless liaison. So I've been running around meeting with different folks, different providers, different agencies, 3 of them in this room, or on the phone, just to try to get a handle on what we're doing. And kind of my thought in going into this is, you know, the goal is to get them, those folks who are stuck on the street, to get them off the streets, out of the doorways, out of their cars, and into some kind of stable housing. Through the course of that time, I have discovered that we have a tremendous number of agencies in this community working really hard to do that. They're coming from out of town. We have some in town providing a lot of emergency services, food and rent for the night, or a hotel for the night. They're out here, they're meeting with the homeless, and they're doing their level best to try to get them some kind of housing. One of the problems is Chief and I discovered going out and meeting with some of them is, you know, they're trying to connect with services like HUD housing. And you ask them, well, where are you at in the process? I don't know. I'm waiting for information. I haven't had a call back yet. One of the rest of us, we'd make a phone call and say, hey, what's going on with our paperwork? So we found there's a level of an inability or to move forward with these processes unless somebody's here working directly with them. Through that process, we've kind of hit on this idea of building a volunteer base to maybe close that locally, to maybe close that connection with these agencies. To go out and have that phone and let them make that call, to help them fill out that paperwork that someone east of here is or west of here is working on. We've done it just this last week. We connected a homeless veteran who's been sleeping out in the county somewhere. We connected him with CSC, and my hope is that he'll have housing here soon. There's opportunities for folks like him. In the last 2 months, I've heard of at least two being moved off into some form of housing elsewhere. Others are in the works. They're talking with the different agencies. Sometimes it's slower and takes a while, and those folks probably need that hand to carry them forward into the process. And as they get further into the process, there's opportunities for them to take classes and how to be a good tenant, how to pay a bill, basic life skills sorts of classes. Once we get them there, I would hope that, it would take off and be more sustainable. But really, hopefully we can get this volunteer program off the ground. Been working with One Sweet Home members and Family Resource Center to kind of get that plan pulled together. Once we get it, we'll put out a call for volunteers, and hopefully we get some response on that. I've had a couple of different people, 3 different people tell me they're interested in it without me having the conversation with them. They're talking about the homeless, and I'm like, well, this is what we're looking at, and they're ready to jump on board with this and volunteer. So there's a potential to move forward and maybe make some headway helping these folks out. And that's basically where we're at now, so.
What's your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge?
With doing this, reaching out, what's stopping them the most?
Stopping them the most?
Yeah, what is stopping them from being able to get housing or to change their lives, or what is it what's the roadblock?
We're lacking housing, that's for sure.
Okay.
So that's an obvious challenge. Sometimes they just don't follow through. They don't miss that appointment. They, the gentleman we helped last week, he missed an appointment one day last week. He was supposed to be there at 2:00. His truck broke down. His parents working. He's sleeping in his truck. And he didn't make it down until 2 hours late. By that time, CSC is not available. He has, they have another meeting and they're not there to talk to him. So I had him come back the next day. He showed up on time, set him up in a corner, gave him a phone, and he was there for an hour and a half. That's all I had to do to make that connection. But he made it back and did that. But a lot of times they won't necessarily fall through. They don't know where to go, what to do. Depending on who it is, every story is different. So some folks are real lucid. Sometimes they're under the influence of something. So it's hard for them to do things like that. So that follow through is a big deal. The lack of places to put them is a big deal. I think those are probably the biggest problems. So, but there are places to put them too. These agencies are doing it. They're coming here and doing it.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah.
So I have the 2 peer supports that I've talked about before on board. They are out here in the Sweet Home Family Medicine Clinic, working with people out of the clinic, going to the community court this week as well. So I kind of have them in those 2 places, but I guess I'm wondering from the community's perspective, is there anywhere else that I should have them, right, to access, to reach people who need help around substance use disorder stuff? Is there anything that I'm missing? Been in contact with like Exodus and, Lynn County, community court. I mean, we're in the family medicine clinic, which we get a decent amount of traffic there, but not anything that's as significant as I perceive the need to be in the community. And so kind of looking for suggestions from you all, if you have any, around where to position these individuals to reach people, if you have any.
Well, all right, how far are you going, school district wide or?
Well, East Lynn County. So, I mean, everything really east of Lebanon. Lebanon's kind of the cutoff because we have another grant that's in Lebanon, so it gets a little dicey once we cross the line and start working with people on the same.
So the reason I was asking that is because some of the problems that we have just outside of town maybe, or the other side of town maybe, that get cited into a different court through the sheriff's office will be in a Sweet Home issue, but it's going to another, right?
Correct, yeah.
So it would probably go to district court.
Depending on what level it is, but it's either going to be over an Albany Circuit Court or it's going to be through a justice court.
Justice court, yeah.
Justice court where? In Lebanon?
Lebanon. So just thinking about that, are you keeping track of those ones that come from the Sweet Home area there?
I'm usually catching them, so when individuals end up in the ER or in the ICU and that kind of thing, and they're residing here, I'll pick them up kind of once they get back over here, I guess, which would be the same thing I could do with the legal system. If we had, the same type of setup that we have out here or a similar one.
Because I'm not sure how that all fits together.
I don't have an answer for you.
I don't either. I
would love for your peer supports just to come into our department on a couple different occasions, and they can meet with the officer. Everyone kind of talk what they do we have contact with a lot of people who are in some form of crisis, and substance abuse, can be a big part of that. And I would love to just educate our staff on what's out there, what you have, and maybe for some referrals.
You also have the sheriff's department that uses your office there, right, during?
Yeah, they're in and out, right?
So maybe
That might,
the officer in this area might be the one you want to tie in with.
Yeah, my problem is, we have this funding, I mean, it's short duration, right? We got maybe a year left and then hopefully, extension just because of all the COVID delays and, the funding is built up, but really I want to spend all of this money, right? And do everything that we can do out here while it's here. And I just feel like, I mean, the COVID has amplified, the disconnection. But I feel like, the need and what we're seeing the need as are two different things. And so I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something significant. I mean, I've, been to Shem and been to the church out there and these different things, but it's, we have room for more people, which is
Could I interject a little bit?
Absolutely. Yep.
You don't need to feel too bad about this. My friends who do the same sort of stuff, and I work with a whole group of peer support folks, and they're struggling with the same thing. A&E issues, alcohol, drugs, etc. It feels to them like the usage has gone way up, but the access to services has gone down. Not dissimilar to Larry's discussion about meals, etc. There's something is going on. I have my own feelings about it. I'd encourage you to keep plugging away, but it feels like this is system-wide. Folks I deal with all three counties, Lincoln, Benton, and Lynn, and it really is everywhere. It's being kind of frustrating to the peer support folks, and sounding like it is to you too.
Yeah, it's just we're on an expiring clock, and so want to make sure we're doing everything we can.
Just saying, it's not you and it's not them. Something's going on. I still think the folks in the community, the homeless folks, they're very aware of this COVID thing, and hanging around with other people is not a good thing. It's not good for the rest of us to think about. If you add on to that a whole addiction and mental health issue, it gets pretty troublesome when you start to isolate, pull into yourself, and don't bother me kind of stuff.
So additionally, we do have the residential facility opening up in Lebanon on the 2nd of August. So it is likely to open up at a reduced capacity. So it's set for 16 beds. We'll probably open 8. So that if there is anyone who tests positive for COVID, they're able to quarantine them in the facility and kind of mitigate risk in that respect. But I guess a promising advancement in everything.
Could I ask you, are they going to take OHP insurance or otherwise?
Yeah, so they primarily will deal with the Oregon Health Plan and are good with IHN.
Okay.
And we'll work on contracting with other CCOs as we go along.
Good.
well, thank you. Anything, Dave?
Me?
Yeah,
I want to go back to the beginning of this meeting.
okay.
And this is kind of on Dick and Bob and some other people that put that healthcare thing together, or the thing down at the high school. I was shocked at how many resources are available to people. I talked to Dick about that once, where he brought it up in a meeting, and I'm thinking, holy moly, there's things out there I had no idea what were. And I still don't know what some of them are and what they do. But it shocked me, actually. And it got better and better. Now we have this mess. But it's given us some time from you two guys, and I know you guys, the Gorleys were involved in that. I was just there to drive the engine, fire engine, so. And I don't want to mention any more people because I'll miss somebody. And so I will say Samaritan was involved pretty heavy in that too. So, yeah, I was pretty shocked at how many, when you went in the building and you saw like 30 of them, I'm thinking, and then it got more. I was pretty shocked about that. Anyway, so kudos, Dick.
There's a lot of resources, but I think, Dick, we've had a lot of conversations, and I know these entities out there are definitely dealing with budgets and budget constraints, which is also really affecting a lot of those, I think, to your point, what's available, what we, I know Chance was one of those entities we really wanted here in Sweet Home and could offer a lot, but I know with that, a budget is an issue because they needed a place to land, and I found the right building and they were excited about the building. It'll all come down to funding again. And I think we're going to have to be creative in that arena in order to attract those types of services in Sweet Home. It's going to be that volunteer base or someone that pulls a group together and says, how do we get this funding for, maybe that's the building we need, and we all focus our efforts on it. It's back to Dave's point, when we saw something we zeroed in on, there was no stopping it. We got it done. And it may be that approach we'll have to do to some of this stuff.
Yeah, and we got really lucky with the federal grant that we got to be out here. We didn't get it until it didn't work out in the initial kind of offering, and we ended up getting it anyways later on, or was offered it. So yeah, we've been able to do some good things in our Lost Point distribution. We've distributed over 100 kits out here in Brownsville as well, and the peer supports are working with people. They both have a caseload, more men than women at this point. We're looking at doing a parenting class for individuals with substance use disorder out here. So there's things in the works, but yeah, COVID has made it 10 times more difficult, and it was already obviously a challenging thing, as you were saying. So
yeah, Loving was another one group that I was working with.
Yep.
They help people in need with that, how to be a good renter and how to get a job and how do I get in school. And she called me the other day, and we probably talked almost an hour. She said, I want so much to get my team back together, but how do I do that? And that's the challenge.
And to the point of there being a lot of resources, there is resources, absolutely, but it really requires a level of functioning to be able to access those resources and utilize the benefits of them that much of the population who needs them does not possess, right? To your point of making appointments and doing all of those things. And so it's challenging, and with housing, we definitely don't have enough resources and ability to get people. And I think Chance is offering the hotel program right now, which is really probably the only thing that we can do with people right off the bat. If they're in need, but I don't know. It's a tough deal.
We just got to keep pushing on because the needs are going to continue to increase and access has got to be there. But at the same time, there are these challenges that we're all facing in making those things happen. And those challenges, I don't believe are going to go away in the next year. They're going to continue. And we try to scoop in as many people as we can.
So I think we all have to kind of be prepared for what's going to happen with this kind of disconnection that Dick's talking about, and that people just aren't really accessing as much services and connection. And I would imagine that's going to result in a lot sicker people. And we're seeing that in Lebanon and the ER, and with individuals who have, sepsis and cirrhosis and all of these other things that are just progressing a lot quicker than I think they may have if the circumstances were different.
Mr. Gorley?
Nothing. I just like to thank Dick and Bob for all the work they did on the health fair stuff so far, and hopefully they can figure out some things, and Larry on the other project he's doing, and that's all I got to say.
Dick?
Very quickly, when we were talking about the medical bus, there's also the mental health bus that was coming in supposedly once a month. And it was due this Friday. They've decided that they can come into town, whether just on providing mental health bus, the mental health bus anywhere. It's a little difficult to do. Well, it's not really psychotherapy, but it's pretty close. It is a psychiatrist providing the service, but it's a little uncomfortable with masks and the virus going around. So we're put on hold with the mental health bus as well. I wanted to add to both, well, actually mostly Sean's comments about the outreach folks. I have visited with the outreach folks and given them some business cards regarding the bus, the medical bus. Bob didn't tell you one of the things he had done is the meal before that, put business cards in the meal bags that went out the window. So people got the information about the medical bus being there. I've now gone out to the outreach folks. They're going to do the same thing as they go around to the various campsites, and they know better than anyone where folks are living on the street or otherwise, and begin to hand out those cards to try to ameliorate some of this obvious illness, physical illnesses that are going to start creeping up on us, that are going to end up with people going into Lebanon ER when they really could be seen by somebody at Mannix. So slow but sure, trudging along. That's kind of it for me.
Is there the possibility, and I don't know if that works for the demographics, but is there any possibility to reach out to these folks that would have come to the bus with maybe a telecommuting, just to have somebody that they could talk to and even see when they talk to them? It would be better than.
That actually is the plan on the bus.
Okay.
We don't quite have that. It's not extremely well done, but that's one of the options. But you've got to get people to come to the bus first. And I think we could probably advertise it a little better. They're having some difficulties on the bus with their internet service. Bob and I are struggling through how to best fit that. He and I didn't even know about it until, 10 days ago. So
Yeah, something like that.
we're going to put our heads down and see if we can't help them. But yes, that would make some sense, actually. People could go into the bus, sit with someone who is a nurse practitioner or a nurse, and just talk at the screen, and there could be a physician ready to talk, or someone else, some other professional in the area. That person wouldn't necessarily have to come to Sweet Home, but the service could be delivered here. So it's high on an agenda, I think, for both Bob and I.
Well, I know buses can be fitted with hotspots because they do it for school buses in rural areas.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, there's some intricacies that Samaritan shows at you, and stuff like that. We're just a little
Being polite.
Okay.
I'm very aware.
Weenie?
Sean?
Sean?
Just a comment, Dick, they, outreach was handing those out last Friday, so.
Good.
So if everybody had, just going to the internet question, one of the biggest problems with internet in Sweet Home for the school children, 35% of the kids don't have internet, and another 10% or almost 12%, I think it is, have slow internet that they can't do the streaming stuff. And so I had talked with our superintendent about working with some of the entities that are in the community to have them stream blocked sites, but stream out to the area where they could get internet from city entities, U.S. Forest Service, Sweet Home Ranger District out here, places like that, that maybe they could work with us on doing that. And he said that that's something that he's doing. So I think it may help in some of those areas where you have kids that are unable to get on the internet for school, and it'll help the parents also.
Yeah, even Beaverton is a third of the kids can't, and as people lose their jobs, it's going to just increase because those who can afford it now won't be able to then. So, anything else?
I don't know how many of you remember back in my day, I didn't have a school. I mean, a school. I had a school, but I didn't have a
Yeah, dirt, right?
Yeah, I just barely made it through. I was a solid D- student. But we used to call, it was cut the gut. And I was, those of you know where Ripley's Chevron Station was, and then down to NW, that's what we made our big circle. Back in the day when the police let us do a U-turn there. That's not on these guys, it's on ODOT. But I saw a lot of cars I've never seen in my life. And I am pretty much a classic car guy. And it was a big, big success.
The last one we just did the other day.
Just the other day,
Yep.
yeah. And I think that they're gonna do that again. And so where our community comes together, and there was cars from places I don't even know where they came from, so.
Out of state.
Yeah.
Well, cutting the gut was a Friday night activity.
Yep. After a ball game.
After the ball game. Yeah.
Well, let's know what can be done if you think outside the box.
And it wasn't because we always won.
No. Except when Jeff got there, then we were totally awesome.
Well, we were the first year we'd ever went to the playoffs when I was a senior in high school, that many years.
With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
For a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Yeah, it was that many years, I remember. And that was